Baby, take a leap of faith. We got a love that's worth the wait. Darling, you've been on my mind. Gonna love you to the end of time.
Hello again. Look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce a friend? This is Old Knobbley. And Old Knobbley is 800 years old. 800 years old. He was growing when Richard I was on the throne. He was growing before the Tudors. He was growing before the Renaissance. He was just growing throughout history. 1200 AD. I mean, the things he's seen. What a magnificent creature he is. And he's still growing. He's got his own Facebook page. And a few years ago, he came second in the England's favourite tree, or England's greatest tree competition. I'll put the details on the bottom. He only lost to the Robin Hood tree in Sherwood Forest, which I guess is a fair enough thing. But look at him. Absolutely brilliant. And today I'm going to be working on my Ents project a little bit, but I'm going to have a little bit of diversion, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some tree portraits. Now, it is still the summer. We're in July now, actually, but I've got a very overcast day here. There's forecast a little bit of rain, which is perfect, as you know, for woodland. Hasn't had a lot, but this forest, this is an ancient woodland which used to be a park, and it's actually about 4 or 5 miles from where I used to live as a boy, and I grew up around here. And I've been to many an event in the clubhouse. They used to have discos and stuff years ago, but I've never ever been in this end of the wood, and I don't know why. I've been to the wood the other end, but we had a little scout round yesterday, and my word, some of the trees in here are fantastic. After Old Knobbley, and there's about 4 of them about this age, and they're spread out over about a 2-mile distance. I haven't found the others yet, but there are also some really old oaks in here, which are only 400 years old, 300 years old, but they still look brilliant as well. So I'm going to do some tree portraits is what I'm going to do today. And we're going to start with Old Knobbley. Maybe need a little bit of mist, but I just think he's a brilliant picture on his own. So I'm going to take his picture. I'm just going to hopefully wait for the sun to go in a little bit. We need a little bit of dull, sort of smooth light. And I'm also going to be working on something called the autumn effect, which is a little kind of a soft focusy feel to these in the computer. We're going to produce some really nice soft portraits of these, and I might end up doing a print of Old Knobbley for you to enjoy. So let's have another look at him. Look at that, the size of him. I'll put the dimensions on the screen about how big he is as well, but absolutely brilliant. And he's still growing. Look, I mean, the amount of acorns and the amount of oak trees in here that have probably come from Old Knobbley is staggering. Right, let's do the picture. I'll show you what I'm looking at. So as you can see, I've got plenty of space to photograph Old Knobbley, and there's only really one, well, there's loads of obviously places to photograph him from, but for me, what I want to try and do is I'm going to do my 65-24 crop that I usually do, and in which case, and he actually lends himself brilliantly to that because he's long and thin, or he's wide and thin. I want to get some of the green leaves in at the top, which might be blowing about a bit in the breeze, but that's all fine. I've got the camera up as pretty much as high as it will go. I'm going to shoot at something like 5.6 because I want to throw the background out of focus, just to make him stand out a bit, and apart from that, pretty straightforward. Right, let's do this. So we've got 5.6 at a 1/10 of a second. I am using a polarizer just to bring out the greens of the branches. Not worried about being at level. I've just tilted the screen down so I can see it. Polarizer on the front, which I'm just going to rotate until I get the polarization at its peak. Sun's in and out, which will be interesting. Actually, the sun is actually right on most of Old Knobbley, so I'm sure the polarizer is doing a great deal. Yes, it is a little bit. So that's probably maximum polarization. Back button focusing. I'm just going to focus on the front, because obviously at a wide aperture you have to be a bit careful with the focusing. 5.6 and 90th. Actually, that's really contrasty and interesting. That might be quite nice to work with that file. There's some light on him himself, and the right hand branch, the left hand branch has got a little bit of dappled light, so it's an interesting picture. That's better. Now the light's gone in. But what it does do, because the sun is shining through this clearing, it's making him stand out a little bit from the background. And we've just got the mint greens of the wood behind him. Beautiful. Still can't get over the fact that he's 800 years old. I mean, isn't that just incredible? There's another one which is a slightly less contrasty file. That's going to work brilliantly. There's even a lovely clearing in the background which is giving me some depth. So we're on 5.6. I'm going to open her up completely now. So F5 at this kind of focal length. I'm also quite the way back and zoomed in a little bit. Can't tell you what I'm zoomed into, but not much. But this is a 24 to 200, and I've zoomed a little bit because I want to try and flatten the perspective. I want to make it two-dimensional a little bit, as far as Old Knobbley is concerned. But then we've also got the depth caused by the little gaps in the trees behind. Another file. This looks interesting. Just focus him up again. I'm paranoid about getting the focusing correct. And the only thing I want to do now, I want to just give a little bit of a delay. The delay is not very big. It's a 1 second delay, but I want to make it 3 because at the top of the end of the tripod, you may remember we did this before, photographing the freezing fog. It does wobble. I mean, having said that, we're on the 15th of a second, so it's not going to be too bad at all. You know what, I reckon I've got that. So what I'm going to do now is going to move into the wood, and there are loads and loads of really rugged old trees, not as big as Old Knobbley, but still rugged, and I've scouted them yesterday, so we're going to carry on my Ents project and see what else we can find. We might also find some 64-24 crops of this woodland. I've said to you before, when I first started on this journey, I didn't regard myself as a woodland photographer at all, but now I see myself more as a woodland photographer than anything else. I've really enjoyed working in the woodland, and I'm seeing pictures which I never used to see. So let's have a few fun hours here. Not many people about, a few dog walkers as you'd expect. Rain's holding off. It's not supposed to rain anymore, but the light's really dull and subtle. So
you're the one. Our story is just begun. I'm never gonna let you go. With your love I'll never be alone. There's only one thing I know for sure. I'm never gonna let you go.
tell you what, I'm glad I put my trousers on today. These brambles. I've just come across this brilliant tree here. I mean, wow, it's got 4 big holes in it, big gnarly knobbly bottom of it. I've shot one full frame of it, just a portrait, but I'm just going to go in with some details. Let me show you on the camera. So just want to give really the main features of this are these, obviously these holes here and the base. So this is probably going to be a square crop, or certainly I'm going to cut that bit off there, I'd like to think. and maybe we'll do something with the sides. Might need a vignette, but that's quite a nice portrait anyway. What an amazing tree. This one is, I think, 300 years old ish, but still brilliant. Right, 2 in the bag. There's so many trees around here, so this way next. We'll see what you get. Let's just hope I don't get ripped to bits. So this guy is a lovely big old oak as well, and I can see a face there, but I can also see some really nice background behind him. Now I've photographed the tree behind, doesn't kind of work, but I've tried. I've covered in bramble cuts. I need to get a lot higher with this. So usually, or in the past, people have taken ladders and brought ladders in, but I've got a drone. So I'm going to put the drone up, and it only is going to go up 20 feet. And just want to zoom in on this guy here. And again, 65-24 crop, but the drone allows me to just position it in 3 dimensions. So as well as forward and back, up and down. So if we can look straight down from, get it level, I'll get it actually in a straight line so that we're looking onto the face, onto the kind of beak bit, and then also getting the lovely old oak tree in the background. I think that's going to look really nice. Let's put the drone together, get that launched. So I have absolutely no problem using a drone in woodland, as long as you're very careful Right, there's the drone. I'm going to concentrate on what I'm doing now. But the drone is really good for this kind of thing. The only thing I haven't got on this drone is any kind of zoom. So we've got to use the lens that we've got. Be very careful I don't hit something. Now that's the kind of shot I was looking at. A little bit closer in, you can hear it beeping, it doesn't like it. But what it does allow me to do is get all sorts of things in which I wouldn't otherwise be able to. That's about perfect. So I'm going to put it into tripod mode now, and that allows me to just be very subtle with it. Subtle movements, and that to me is just what I would imagine in. So we've got, with this, 3 pictures, just going to move slightly. Where's my drone? I'll get out of sight that way. Swing it around a little bit, separate the 3 elements, which is this tree, there's a tree behind it, and the other tree that I was interested in. Move it slightly so they're all lined up perfectly. Well, you probably can't see that, but this is what we're looking at. So we've got 1, 2, 3. The reason it's all red is because that's where it's focused, shows you what's in focus. And that looks fine. It will still work as a 65-24 crop. I've got the file, it's a 20 megapixel raw file, so it still does the job. I can treat it exactly the same as the others, and only you and I know that I've used the drone for it. Right, let's bring it back, land it.
Come on, baby, what you waiting for?
So remember I said there's only really one way to photograph Old Knobbley? Well, there is the classic way, but that's not quite true, because this is quite an interesting thing that I've not tried for a while. And it's this idea of using the foliage and the rest of the forest to frame things of interest. So I've got this holly tree on the left here, and what I'm doing is I've got wide open on the aperture. I'm 200mm f6, I think it is, focused right on Old Knobbley, zoomed right in on him, just him in the top of the branches. And then we've got the holly tree out of focus, which throws him into focus a little bit more for the eye. And there's also a tree that goes over the top, so I've got this kind of natural frame, this natural vignette around him, which really looks nice. The slight problems I've got is if I go further left to cut out the bench that you can see, the holly tree blocks off Old Knobbley. So this is really the place to shoot it. Yeah, I'm probably going to clone this bench out in Photoshop. I might do that, I might not, it depends. It's green, that's not the most unattractive thing. It might look quite nice with somebody sitting on it, but there isn't anybody about. The other good thing about this is the fact that the light shows up Old Knobbley because he's in a clearing, so that gives us even more of a it makes you stand out even more from the background. So you've got this natural vignette around him, which I might also enhance. So let's shoot this, and I'll put this on the screen now and see what you think about this one. Here it comes.
Come on, baby, what you waiting for? You and me could be so much more. There's something I've been dying to say. Honey, let's take a leap of faith. And I know you're the one. Our story.
Look at this. Look at the size of him. Absolutely amazing. It's a habitat in his own right, isn't he? Absolutely gorgeous. Looks brilliant from here as well, actually. All these lovely branches. I might shoot one from this way. It'd be interesting. Just twisted, and they're so rough. The texture on these old oaks is amazing. Going to make this the last one. I really hope you've enjoyed today. This is a wood that I knew was here but never considered. I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back in autumn. I think it's going to look wonderful when the oaks start changing colour. I'm going to come back when there's some mist. I'm going to come back here quite a few times, and I hope you'll join me on that journey. So if you haven't subscribed, do so. Click the bell icon to let you know when my videos come up. Every Sunday at 6 is the regime. So what a wonderful day I've had. It's been brilliant. Let's photograph this then. I'll put all the images on the screen. I hope you've enjoyed them. I hope it's been a worthwhile vlog. See you next week. Don't be late. 6 o'clock. Bye for now.
There's something I've been dying to say. Honey, let's take a leap of faith. And I know you're the one. Our story's just begun. I'm never gonna let you go. With your love I'll never be alone. There's only one thing I know for sure. I'm holding on forevermore. I'm never gonna let you go. With your love I'll never be alone. There's only one thing I know for sure. I'm never gonna let you go.
And finally, Old Knobbley. Now it's competition time. If you'd like to win this print of Old Knobbley, just subscribe, like the video and comment below your favourite moment of history that Old Knobbley may have seen. Good luck.